All right, we're back here in the JConcepts garage for another video blog episode. We're here today with Paul Wynn. He just attended the Stock Nationals at OCRC Raceway. This is something that's been going on for several years now. Paul's made his way out there several times. And Paul, before we kind of get into the cars here, why we brought him in today, but talk to us about your experience at this race and the time that you spent out at OC doing the Stock Nats.
Yeah, the Stock Nats is it's kind of an exciting race for me. You get to go out to OCRC. You get to interact with the end user. It's not a race where it's full of sponsored drivers. There's a lot of club level guys, and they put on a really great race. It sells out every year. They limit the entries to 250, but then they fill in the classes. So they ended up with 318 entries, and it's a 2-day event with 1 day of practice. So Friday's all-day practice, no seating, go straight into qualifying Saturday morning, and the mains are on Sunday.
So with this event, kind of run us down the classes that they have. I mean, right away people kind of say, oh, the fast guys are racing stock, but it's a little bit different because everybody's racing stock.
Yeah, the entire race is stock. So they have a sportsman class, they have expert classes, they have an over 40 class, and that way you can kind of separate the pros. They're kind of in their own class. If the guys want to run with the pros, they can do that, and they can also run the sportsman class as well. So there's a class for everybody there.
I mean, essentially, since stock is obviously one of the largest classes, if not the largest class in racing today. So I think that there's been there's a Roar Stock Nationals. There's been several Stock Nationals over time, but what's kind of special about this one is the fact that there are very good drivers racing it, whereas sometimes at the Roar Nationals you can't really step down without being criticized as a sandbagger or something like that.
Right.
Here you're allowed to race stock because there's several different classes, so you can actually see what a guy like a Kody or a Jake Thayer can do. How do you say it kind of compares to a typical like a Roar Stock Nationals?
It's like you said, it's a lot different because the pros are running the same car, same power. They're able to help out the lower end guys because they are running the same motor, same batteries. The cars are a little bit slower, although they're crazy fast in stock. But so handling setups, things like that, kind of relate a little more from the pros to the average guy running stock. So to me, it's a very beneficial race to everybody, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you learn a lot about the cars because there's a limitation on power, but obviously there's ways to go faster in stock. But at the end of the day, you're still driving, and you still got to set up the car, right?
Yeah, I mean that's at this particular race, quite a few of the pros, they'll just take their mod car, they'll throw some stock motors in it. They won't do any of the lightweight drivetrain stuff. The only thing they'll do is maybe the charging techniques that they have. So they'll charge and discharge, a little harder than normal. But they're able to run the fastest laps just with their driving and their setup abilities, and it kind of proves that you really don't need all that stuff. Sure, it is beneficial to a certain extent. I'm sure if Cavalieri or Kody or one of those guys did do it, it could probably help a little bit. But when it really comes down to it, just running tight lines, proper setup car, that's what's really important. The average guy can see that because they're running exactly the same stuff, same motor, same batteries, and these guys are still 2-3 tenths a lap faster.
Yeah, I mean, I think something that really kind of got our attention about this event was, we had some great results. You're out there supporting the guys, Kody, Jake, Blake Bayett, and several guys obviously. But we had very good results. We kind of wanted to talk to everybody a little bit about what we were experiencing and show what these guys were doing. That's why we brought in the cars from the guys here. So basically let's break down Jake's car. He won the 2-wheel stock class, and give us a little kind of a run around of kind of how that weekend went for him, and what he ended up with in the end.
Yeah, Jake. Obviously he's the the store manager at OCRC. He kind of runs the show there, and gets to run the club races. Doesn't get to practice a lot with the normal hours, but he does put in the time after hours, and he had things dialed in pretty well. What they normally would run is a dirt web combination front and rear. The track is normally a little greener or looser on their club days, but for this particular race, the bite came up. It's almost like more like a blue groove track. It's dry, tire dust. So we found that we didn't have to massage the tires near as much. We could run them right out of the bag, just scuff them in a little bit, and they were right on pace. There was no tire games really.
Yeah.
So Jake was running a pretty much box stock 4.0 22, and we ran space bars in the rear, dirt webs on the front on his car. He preferred dirt webs in the front. We ran the stock Dirt Tech inserts. Normally they would punch holes in them, things like that, but with it being stock and high bite, we decided to keep the inserts somewhat firm and more corner speed, less rolling resistance. And he was awesome all weekend.
So on the 4.0, we'll take the body off later, but this he's got the Aero wing front and rear on this car, and I mean we talked to him earlier this week on our on the podcast, the Radio Impound podcast, but he was saying that he's went back and forth several times with this front wing, and he says he's just convinced he can't go without it now.
Yeah, he was kind of like myself and a few others. We were real hesitant on the front wing. We weren't big fans of it, and he said he tried it a couple of times, and he didn't think it made much of a difference, and I was kind of the same way. But later on, running with it some more, and taking it on and off, you start to realize that it's not what you expect. You think you're going to get all the steering and but really it allows the car to jump better. It's actually more stable, and it has smoother steering with the front wing. So yeah, he put it on and hasn't gone back. So he's running the Aero rear wing as well for the Losi vehicle that we do, and it's working well.
I guess one of the things when we were talking to him, he likes this rear wing. Something that you worked on here was this Aero wing with the this has sort of a small gurney effect here in the back, and if you can kind of explain why you would want to do something like that versus doing what we traditionally did in the past.
Well, yeah, in the past we would this portion of the wing, we would run it super tall on loose conditions, and you would cut it down accordingly. And so what we decided to do is actually bring this wicker bill down a lot lower, and then put the little wicker or gurney on there, and so it still gives you good traction, but allows the car to still jump and stay low. So that's been really nice. I mean, you can actually see the tire dust building up on the gurney here.
Yeah, I mean that's what's so cool about getting the off the track car, because you get to see it off the track and how it looks, and that's what one of the first things I noticed was the tire dust on the back of his wing, which is just kind of so cool from a racing standpoint.
Yeah, they were running 10-minute mains, so normally they would run 5-minute qualifiers. They blow the track in between, and you're not blowing off dust. You're more dirt. You're blowing off tire dust. Yeah. And so in the 10 minutes, there's no time to blow it off. So yeah, the tire dust really built up onto the cars.
So with the this is the TLR 22 4.0, but kind of like we said, we got the Dirt Webs tires on the front, we got the space bars in the back, and we went Aero wing front and rear. He's got some thin turnbuckles on here, which work well on the TLR car. He's saving a little bit of weight here, but like you said, this for the most part it's a pretty conventional looking new car here. Yeah,
he's running the stock body. We're currently working on a new body for this vehicle. It just came out 2 weeks ago officially. So we'll have something for this pretty soon. But it's right out of the box. I think the only thing he did was he actually added the brass suspension mount in the rear, which funny enough, stock guys are crazy about weight, but he actually added weight to the car. But he did run some of the SR lightweight drivetrain parts. So he has the lightweight diff and the lightweight drive shafts.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, yeah, it's out of the box, and the tires are, stock. They weren't soaked or anything. He just scuffed them in and ran them.
So the other class that they had going this at the Stock Nationals was the what they call stock four-wheel drive, but really it's 13.5 four-wheel drive class. And we got Kody's car here, which he was able to take the win. And like we talked about Jake's car being really stock, but this thing is almost more stock than that.
Yeah, the four wheels were actually pretty amazing. They were way faster than I anticipated them being. But Kody, seems to be, racing a little bit less here and there. But now that he did come back and he built cars box stock, and just so he could relate to what the customers are running, and springs, everything it's box stock with the exception of the body, and he went with the lightweight plastic internal gears in the front and rear diff. Those were the only two changes on the car.
So we just released this S2 body not long ago for the B64. A lot of people are really liking this body, and what are you seeing with the S2 out there versus the stock body or something else? What are you seeing with the S2?
The first thing I noticed was the stock body is real tall and bulky looking compared to this body. This body is really sleek, tight fitting to the chassis, lower. It just has a much racier look to it. Where the stock body is really nice, but for whatever reason, this one it looks right on the track. And Kody commented that was the main reason he actually was running the body, was more about how cool it looked.
And then when you get into, obviously one of the most important things is the tires. He went with the space bars all the way around. Can he explain kind of how you guys arrived at going space bars all the way on this one?
Yeah, he got to run the club race the weekend before the event, and the track is usually not as hooked up and has a lot more moisture in it, but he liked the space bars. They freed the vehicle up, and with stock four-wheel, the cars are a little on the heavy side, and he just wanted the car to be as free as possible, as much corner speed as he could get out of it, and the space bars just gave that for him. And when the track became really high bite, blue groove dry, it was just that much faster through the corners, and that's actually why we decided to try and run him on two-wheel. He was having so much success with the four-wheel that we decided to try him in two-wheel, and did the exact same thing at more corner speed. Had the same amount of bite, forward bite, but less side bite, so got through the corners, rotated really nice.
So, obviously this isn't the only two classes. There was a stock truck class and a short course stock class. We had two guys that did extremely well there. First with the stock truck, what'd you see out of Blake Bayett and with the stock truck guys?
Yeah, Blake Bayett is one of the fast locals there. He's normally running modified and beating guys like Hartson and competing with Cavallari, and the guy is really fast, quiet, and kind of like silent assassin. I was really impressed with his driving, but he ran the Losi, the new Losi truck. I'm not sure, it's the 3.0. Yeah, gold dirt webs all the way around, dirt tech inserts, right out of the bag, and just scuffed them in again and sauced them up, and he was he was unstoppable. TQ'd I think 2 of the 4 rounds, and then led the 10-minute main from tone to tone.
And then in the short course class, we had Kyle Layton, which is another. Obviously, he's almost more experienced in stock than any of these guys, and had a good weekend. He did well in two-wheel, four-wheel, and then he kind of peaked out in short course, and he took that one. Yeah,
he's I think he's reigning stock national champion in two-wheel,
mm-hmm.
and short course. I think he might have TQ'd or was battling in there as well. So he was actually TQing rounds in four-wheel and two-wheel. He was right there. And short course, the turnout was a little bit light. I think they had just one full heat,
mm-hmm.
and he was able to TQ and win fairly easy. The car was just super easy to drive, and the tricky part with short course and stock, it's the trucks are so big, the power delivery is tough. So he was really good at being super smooth, down slide and everything. The dirt webs were hooked up, gave him a lot of corner speed. So yeah, he was pretty happy. He looked good out there.
So, for us, obviously, it was a great weekend between the two that we discussed here, Jake and Kody winning those classes. We also got the top 3 in each, correct?
Yeah, and the expert classes in 4-wheel and 2-wheel, top 3, you had Kody, Jake, and Blake, and then in 2-wheel it was Jake, Kody, and Blake, I believe.
So, with the rest of the, with the rest of the classes we just talked about, truck and short course, we obviously took those as well. So we got the big 4 classes covered that weekend. We're really happy with the performance. What do you see kind of going down the road into next year? Do you see this, we're several years into this event already, but do you see it picking up even more momentum?
Yeah, there's one thing that we wanted to do for next year, and maybe limit how many classes you can enter with one vehicle. That way we can try and get more people into the event, because it sold out in 11 minutes. So it was really tough. A lot of people were wanting to get into the event, so I can see it just growing every year, and it's getting more and more competitive. And I think the other thing that makes it really cool is they're a little more relaxed on the rules. So guys aren't freaking out, and they still check battery voltage, battery temperature, weight, and blinky mode. They make sure that you have a 17.5 in there. And Nick does a really great job with the track layouts. They never run a full straightaway. They never have any make it or break it jumps. So even if you're a little down on power, you're still very competitive, because the layout is more about corner speed, double apex turns, timing jumps, things like that.
Well, we got these 2 guys here in the studio. What we're gonna do is we'll take the bodies off, show you kind of some details here at the end of the video, so you can get an idea of what these cars look like without the body. And the setup sheets are available online, I believe they've all been added.
Yeah, both are up. Team Associated has Kody's they just released. Jake Thayer has his setup on OCRC and on Losi's websites, and on our blog they have detailed pictures of the cars, so you can actually go and check them out and look at all the different things that they have done to them.
Well, we appreciate you being here, Paul, and going out there attending the event. It was a great race. Thanks to OCRC, Robert, Nick Black, Jake, the whole crew out there, and we appreciate being a part of it. Thank you once again for going out, and once again, congratulations to these guys and taking some big wins. And now we're going to pack them back up and get these cars back out to them so they can live to race another day.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks.